Beat the Mets. Step right up and beat the Mets. Bring your keys, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life because the Mets are really sucking that ball. Hitting those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody's coming down to meet the METS Mets of New York Town.
And here are your hosts of the MetsCast, Nick Durst and John Brown.
East side, west side, everybody's coming down.
It's the MetsCast episode 16 right here on WGSports.com and the WG Sports Radio Network. Back for the first time this year, the first edition of 2019. And it's Nick Durst here with John Brown. John, Happy New Year.
Hey, Happy New Year. It's good to be back.
And there's a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. First, since the last show, the best news we can get, and that is that Jeurys Familia is once again a New York Met. And in 2018, when he pitched with the A's and, of course, the Mets, he was pretty good. 8-6, 3.13 ERA. He had 18 saves and 83 strikeouts in 72 innings pitched. And I don't think you're going to find a better setup man in all of baseball than this.
Yeah, I really like the signing. I know last year we talked about getting rid of him. I thought they traded him low. I thought they could have got more for him. But I'm really glad that we brought him back. We brought him back at a pretty reasonable deal. And, he's agreed to set up too as well, which is surprising. And, the way that injuries work, especially with the Mets, I'm glad that we have I won't be worried at all if he has to be the closer for a couple weeks.
Right. Let's not forget that Familia, the single season saves record for the Mets, 51 in 2016, and he had 43 saves in 2015. Not a bad 2-year span right there.
No, not at all.
So he's back. That's really good. The other news was that the Mets, they signed a new catcher, and Wilson Ramos, he's now a Met. And last year he played for the Rays before getting traded to the Phillies. He batted .306. He had 70 RBIs, 15 home runs, and he played 111 games. What are your thoughts on this signing?
Really, really like it. He had a 2.4 WAR last year. I don't think he's not Mike Piazza, but he's a very, very good hitter. He's if he can stay healthy, he'll be out there and he'll be very much a positive. He was the second best catcher free agent, and we offered money to the other guy. He ended up signing with, I think, the Brewers. But I like it. I think
he did. He turned on the Mets offer. Yeah. So I mean, this is a solid signing. My only concern here is that the guy is very injury prone, but aren't all Mets anyway, so it'll probably fit right in. And as a result of this, I don't know how I'm interested to see your take on this. The Mets decided to trade Kevin Plawecki to the Indians for Walker Lockett and Sam Haggerty, 2 minor leaguers. What are your thoughts on getting rid of Plawecki?
I think it's a mistake. Someone can go back and listen to, I think it was like 2 or 3 shows ago, but I read a really great article online talking about about Plawecki's
launch angle.
His launch angle. And it's very similar, if you look at his contact and solid hit numbers, very similar to Murphy's right before Murphy had, essentially blew up. And I think that if he can change his launch angle, he's teetering with becoming a star because his numbers, he's hitting the ball quite a lot. He's not striking out. He could hit, righties and lefties. I think if he turns a lot of those, ground outs and double plays into doubles and home runs, which is very possible. We saw it right with Murphy. This guy could be a star that we could have had for, I think this is a great example. I think he put up numbers that Wilson Ramos puts up easily. And I think he's probably going to. And we're gonna look back on this trade and shake our heads because the two minor league pieces we got aren't exactly knocking on the door and taking any jobs in the major leagues right
So
now.
what this means is that Travis d'Arnaud is going to be the backup catcher for the Mets, and I think this might be good for him because when he plays, he always hits, and maybe now there's less chance of injury because he won't be playing every day on a regular basis. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I've always liked d'Arnaud's bat. I think he's proven that he can hit the major league level. It's just catching takes such a toll on your body, and you know what? Maybe he could play, as a part-time player and stay healthy and contribute. Maybe get like 300 at bats and hit 10 home runs and 50 RBIs. The thing is, though, it's gonna be hard to get him in that lineup. Where else do you play him? Outside of just the backup role, I guess there's a backup role.
Let's just say Ramos plays 110 games again. I mean, that's still a lot of starts for him. 52 starts.
Yeah, 52 starts will give him like almost 200 at bats, and then if we can mix him in somewhere else, he's a young guy. He's pretty athletic. I know they tried him in like the outfield or something.
Well,
but
the problem with that, and we're gonna get to that in a second, is that the Mets, they're at their max with the 40-man, and there's no spots right now, and that affects one of the key players on the team. We'll get to that. Just to walk through some more of that. So obviously he's traded to make room for Ramos and d'Arnaud to play every day. A minor move would be the Mets trade for Keon Broxton. I don't understand this move at all, John. This guy last year, he plays 51 games. He batted 179. He had 4 home runs and 11 RBIs. I don't understand why they, wanted to get him. And he's out of options, so he's definitely going to be on the team. Otherwise, he'll be designated for assignment.
Yeah, I don't really understand that either. Maybe the scouts know something that we don't know. Maybe that they're looking at him.
They say, oh, he's a great defensive guy. Well, you know who else is a great defensive guy, John?
Yeah. Yeah, his name's Juan Lagares. We're going to have trouble getting him in the lineup, and we're paying him $9 million this year. So if anyone's getting at bats, it's him.
He is probably, if he played every day, he'd still be the best defensive center fielder. So and he was hitting, last year too before he got hurt. So I'd rather him play than Keon Broxton.
Yeah, me too. Not only are we invested and we're paying him, he's a proven commodity. Like the guy can play center field with the best of them. He covers the ground. He makes the big catches. He has a big time arm. He has great instincts. Mm-hmm. I don't know who this Broxton guy is, but when I look at his numbers, none of them jump out at me at all. It doesn't make sense. The only thing I can think of is, they're trying to get depth because they think that, there's going to be some injuries and they just don't want to.
Right. They also signed, speaking of depth, they signed Rajai Davis and Gregor Blanco to minor league deals. They'll be in AAA, so they'll be there in case somebody gets hurt in the outfield. I guess they'll call them up.
Yeah, and I don't mind that both of those guys are over the hill, but we gave them minor league contracts, and who knows, they could catch fire and hit well for us in a little skit, play for 2 or 3 weeks somewhere. That's fine. Those are actually like pretty good signings.
Right.
I actually kind of like them.
You can't fault a minor league deal. And then the big deal in the last few weeks was that the Mets signed Jed Lowrie, and this guy played predominantly second base most of his career, mostly second base last year with the A's. He was an all-star. He had a career year. He batted .267, 23 home runs, 99 RBIs, 159 hits, and that was while he scored 78 runs in 157 games. The year before, he was good as well, 153 games in 2017, 277 average, 14 home runs, 69 RBIs. So he's durable. He's going to stay healthy. And now, this is, we discussed this off the air when it happened. He's going to play third base every day now. MLB Network did their top 10 second basemen, and the Mets have 2 of the top 10 second basemen in Cano and Lowrie. But to me, the top second baseman on the team is Jeff McNeil, and now he's not even going to play every day. What a disgrace.
Well, I'm not gonna complain because I've been complaining for years about the Mets not going out and signing guys. And Jed Lowrie, if you look at his WAR numbers, he was the best second baseman out there
Yep.
on the market. At a 4.9 WAR, which is phenomenal. He's 35, which is a little bit older, but his game is very much within itself. He used to be a shortstop when he was in Boston. I think he's more of a third baseman, second baseman now. But no, I really like him. I've always been a big Jed Lowrie guy. He is a little injury prone, but the last 2 years being healthy is a good sign. I think so. I think that this is what's gonna how the infield's gonna play out, and it's probably gonna make you mad, but here it's gonna go. I think Jed Lowrie is gonna play third base every day. I think Rosario is gonna play short. I think McNeil is going to play some second base, and then at first base is going to be Robbins and Cano, and they're going to do that. And
couldn't disagree with you more. Cano, he said he was not waiving the no trade clause if he was going to play first base, so he's definitely going to play second every day. And Todd Frazier is going to play first base every day until Alonso gets called up.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see that.
And don't forget about Dom Smith.
Is he still on the roster?
Yeah, of course. This is what I see happening on opening day, whether they tell you this or not. You're going to have Wilson Ramos catching, unless he gets hurt in spring training. deGrom's going to pitch. You're going to have Frazier at first, Cano at second, Rosario at short, Lowrie at third. You're going to have Conforto on left, Nimmo in center, and Jeff McNeil is going to be playing right field.
I could
Brody Van Wagenen said, McNeil's got to play. He's gonna play a lot of outfield. So, I mean, you can't have Keon Broxton out there. So I think you need to get McNeil's bat in the lineup.
Yeah. I think McNeil gives you a lot more ups. Like, here's the thing: the kid can hit. And he only did it in a small batch, so the league could figure him out. Who knows? But I think you got to get creative to try to get him in that lineup. As far as Cano playing second base every day. I guess, unless he's out there embarrassing himself.
The thing is, with Cano, is at his introductory press conference, Steve Gelbs, SNY, asked him, how do you feel about, you played some first base last year? He's like, I'd rather forget that. Not a good time. So he's not interested in playing first base.
Well, of course not, because if you look at his numbers as a first baseman, they're not very good. His numbers jump out at you because he's playing second base, which is, traditionally outside of Jeff Kent, a lighter hitting position. So when you throw his numbers up against a first baseman, he's not that great. So I understand,
he needs to just forget about being valued because he's not making the Hall of Fame. He cheated last year.
Oh, he's done. His numbers aren't good enough, first off. And he's a PED user. Yeah, he's finished.
And
anyway.
And we all want to see Peter Alonso get a shot to play first base this year. I mean, the guy led the league, led the minors in home runs and RBIs, and he's ranked the top first baseman prospect in all of baseball. I think this guy should get a chance. He should have been up in August last year, but it's not like you're talking about Dom Smith here. You're talking about a legit power hitting, big time bat in the middle lineup in Peter Alonso.
Speaking of Dom Smith, so when they had to make room on the 40-man roster, they decided to DFA
Gavin
Cecchini, correct. Who, he was hurt last year, I'll give you that, but the guy had a lot of upside, and he never really got a good shot.
And the good thing, though, is that nobody cleared him. I mean, nobody picked him up due to the injury, so he was assigned to the Mets' new AAA affiliate, the Syracuse team. So he'll still be in the system, but he's just not on the 40-man roster.
Yeah, I feel like Dom Smith didn't do enough last year. If someone was on the chopping block, for me anyway, it would have been him because, there's no scenario where I think he's either A, going to win that first baseman job, or B, valued enough off the bench. I know he's super young, so they want to hit every day.
I'm thinking further than that. First of all, I don't want to see this guy ever play the outfield again. Remember that game last year where he ran into Rosario? Oh my gosh. But
he's an embarrassment.
You have to assume Alonso's not going to be in the majors to start the year because that's the way the business rolls with the arbitration clock. So Alonso's going to play every day in AAA. So I don't know where Dom Smith is going to get on any at-bats unless they really are dumb and they do put him in the outfield in AAA again.
I think it probably has a lot to do with how he does this spring. I think if he hits in the spring, they'll get creative. if he doesn't hit in the spring,
Right.
He'll be right in the prime in AAA.
I have a friend of mine, you may know him from St. John's, where we both attended, and he's like, Dom Smith's never been given a fair chance. The media's trying to run him out of town. The guy has been given too many chances, and he doesn't know how to work an alarm clock. Remember, he showed up late in 2017 to game September. Then he comes into 2018. He was supposed to be the starting first baseman, and what did he do on the first day of spring training, John? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
He didn't show up on time. And then
yes.
Adrian Gonzalez wins the first baseman's job. So I don't know how many opportunities this guy needs to be given before he gets it through his head. It's just ridiculous.
Well, look at his opportunities. In 2017, he played 49 games, got 167 at-bats. The next year, he played 55 games and got 143 at-bats. He batted 198 and then 224. Yeah, so what is he doing that's knocking on the door saying, hey, we got to give this guy a shot to win this job? He hasn't done anything. You know what I mean? So he's gotten more than most guys. He was born in 95, so he's super young. So I get that. But, he's not the answer at all. I would have. The only thing I can think of is that they were worried that he wouldn't pass through waivers and Gavin would, so that's why they did it. But I don't see any scenario where this guy is on the major league team.
Well, I'm very happy that they didn't put TJ Rivera on waivers because remember, this guy comes up 2016, ends up as a starting second baseman and going into the wild card game. Great in 2017. Then he had to get Tommy John surgery. He was out all of last year. But don't forget about this guy, John, because what does this guy do that is similar to Jeff McNeil and Daniel Murphy? He hits. Time and time again, he hits. So I'm glad they're keeping him around. Hopefully he comes back healthy in spring training. And, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. The same breakdown. He has, as similar appearances that Dominic Smith does. The difference is that he batted .333 and .290 in about 150 to 200 at-bats both times, and he also hit a ton of doubles. So in 2017, before he got hurt, in 214 at-bats, he had 62 hits, phenomenal, 13 doubles, 1 triple, 5 home runs, 27 RBIs, 9 walks. I love it. The guy... He's a real gritty ball player. He hits. He can play multiple positions. He is a great bench player because I think when he does get in the lineup, he gives you kind of a spark and a pop, which is nice.
He's very good pinch hitter too. Yep. So hopefully he's healthy, and then that they needed to make some moves. They did, but we hope McNeil plays. The other thing they needed to address was the rotation and the bullpen. We got a little progress there. Minor league deals for Hector Santiago, he's a lefty, and Luis Avalon, he's a righty. They might make the team be in the bullpen, and they sign Justin Wilson. He's going to be the left-handed specialist to a 2-year deal. He'll be in the major league contract. Last year, he's with the Cubs, and he appeared in 71 games. He pitched 54 and 2/3 innings. And I don't know. I mean, hopefully he can do well. He had a 3.46 ERA, which is pretty good. But I don't know. I thought maybe they should still bring Jerry Blevins back, or I know we both said maybe they should have went for Zach Britton or Andrew Miller. I'm still worried about this bullpen. I think they still need to get another legit end of the game type of guy in there.
Do you know who's still available? Craig Kimbrell.
No chance they get him.
But why not? They've sort
of
waited. Well,
first of all, he's crazy because he thought he was getting a 7-year deal. No relief pitcher ever got a 7-year deal.
Well,
so, I mean,
maybe not getting a job will bring him back to reality.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I mean, but the other thing is that I'm worried about... I mean, last year I said I'm worried about the bullpen, which I am. I'm worried about the rotation because as of now, John, who's the 5th starter? Do you remember this guy from last year and how terrible he was?
Vargas? Yeah,
yes.
Vargas is a dumpster fire. Yeah, he's terrible.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Now rumors are that the Mets have interest in Gio Gonzalez, which if it's a 1-year deal, I say go ahead and sign him because... he's really, I think he has like something like a 1.50 ERA lifetime at Citi Field. He's coming off an off year where he was 10-11 with a 4.21 ERA, but that was with the Nationals and the Brewers. Once he was traded to the Brewers, he actually had 5 starts, went 3-0 with a 2.13 ERA. So that's pretty good for a number 5 rotation guy. What do you think?
Sign me up. I'm ready for it. I got another guy to throw at you. How about Clay Buchholz? So he did have some arm troubles. He's a year older than Gio, but I think you can get him for cheap. And if you look at his limited line from last year, it's phenomenal. So 16 game starts, he was 7-2 with a 2.01 ERA in 98 innings, 81 strikeouts, and a 104 WHIP. That is really, really good. He had incredible stuff for the Red Sox way back when. Last year, I think he was on the Diamondbacks, but he's a free agent right now. His WAR is only like 1 point less than Gio's, and I think he could actually probably get maybe a 1-year deal for a little bit less.
Well, I think they got to do something. I think they still need to sign some sort of starter and somebody in the bullpen. I would really love to see Lugo start, and then they sign a reliever, but it doesn't seem like they're interested in that for some reason.
Well, I think because what that does is it takes away a plus and make it not make that.
But Lugo as a starter was a big plus. I mean, this guy was his spin rate was the best in the game, and I don't know why he doesn't get the shot to at least try to make the rotation. It's interesting.
Yeah, I don't really he's kind of getting bounced around a little bit too much.
He's really good in the bullpen though, but I think they just need to pick one way and keep him there. Yeah, remember like the Yankees, they totally screwed up Jabba Chamberlain because they were like, maybe we'll have, and Phil Hughes will have him relieve, start, reliever again, starter, and then it's just like too much back and forth.
Yeah, we're giving him the Aaron Heilman treatment right now.
Oh my God, Aaron Heilman. I don't want to talk about him. I hate him. And the other news, and I don't know if you saw this, John. Henry Mejia has been reinstated to baseball by Commissioner Manfred after he was banned for life, and he signed a minor league deal with the Red Sox. So I guess he's going to replace Kimball. What do you think about Mejia coming back?
Ridiculous. And that's actually, I found out that Kimball was still a free agent because I saw on Twitter he retweeted that, and he was like, hey, how the hell does this guy with a lifetime ban have a job and not me?
And speaking of guys who don't have jobs, Bryce Harper's still available. Birdie, I don't know what you're doing. I tweeted you in December. You said you read the tweets. Just sign Bryce Harper. He's not getting his 10-year deal he wanted. I understand you don't want to give him a 10-year deal. Maybe you go in there and say, hey, Bryce, we'll give you a 3-year deal, $40 million a year. I mean, it's going to be tough for somebody to turn something like that down.
Well, because it's guaranteed money. If I'm his agent, I'm telling him, listen, you need to get a long deal. You got to try to get some agent. Yeah.
Listen, you gotta, if no one's going to give him a 10-year deal like they thought, he's going to have to sign. I mean, spring training, pitchers and catchers are going to be in camp next week, so it's getting late here. I don't know. I mean, obviously the Mets, they're not interested in him. There was an article by the Athletics' Ken Rosenthal. He said why the Mets aren't interested in Harper, but they should be. And then there was a quote from, Wilpon saying, I would find it hard to imagine any team could have multiple players on a team making $30+ million. Meanwhile, the Mets, they already have multiple players on a team making $30+ million. Cano, who is much older than Harper, and Cespedes, who they're not going to pay this year because he's not going to play with the insurance money. So, I just don't like that quote from him.
Yeah, that's a clown excuse. That's a clown question, bro.
Exactly.
Complete nonsense. $20 million of the Cano money is actually coming from Seattle this year, so that money's not really, technically coming out of the pockets. On the same note, you're right, they're getting insurance money just how they were getting it from David Wright the last few years for Cess. But, more than anything else, I think we need to go out and really try to get Harper for this one big reason. I've heard a lot of rumblings about him signing with Philadelphia. And, not only does that, take a young star out of us, but it also, puts a young star that we need to face, a double
Right.
MVP that we have to face,
But
18
John,
times a year.
even if he goes back to the Nationals, which is a strong possibility, it's the same scenario.
I know, and like it's a double positive because we get to neutralize, someone
Remember,
in the division.
Remember, we were going into 2016. The Nationals were going to sign. They already signed Murphy. They were going to sign Cespedes, and Oldest had no choice but to sign Cespedes because he realized, oh my gosh, he's going to sign in our division, and we're going to be in big time trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to do something about that. Yeah, I get why the Mets aren't really in on him, and I don't think they're going to be, honestly.
No way. He's meeting he met with the Padres this week, so that's interesting.
Because of his personality, I could see him landing somewhere like that. That's like a smaller market where he could sort of be the big star. Because New York's a tough market to play in. I don't really see his personality working out well in New York.
Well, he wanted to play in New York, but the Yankees, they're not interested. So, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, Philadelphia, I don't think anybody really wants to play there. And then their owners said, "Oh, we're going to spend stupid money and go after Machado and Harper." But so far, they haven't been able to sign anybody.
But I have a dark horse who I think the Mets could sign on the cheap, and could be very, very productive for us. I'm going Carlos Gonzalez. He's still a free agent right now.
Where's he going to play? The Mets already have five outfielders plus McNeil, 6 outfielders on the Major League roster.
Well, his bat, first of all, Cargo is always hurt, so we don't, only pencil him in for about 300 bats anyway. But he'll be your starting right fielder on opening day. And, he's a much bigger bat than any of the platoon guys that we have out, for Broxton or
you think he's a much bigger bat than McNeil?
Yeah. Home run wise, yeah, he's a big time power hitter. Like obviously,
I wanted them to sign him last year instead of Jay Bruce, and I think I would have been right if they did do that.
Yeah, you would have. Well, think about this. So even when he's been banged up, he's still batted in the 270s, 280s. He gets on base a lot. He doesn't steal bases anymore because I guess his legs are probably going, but he's still hitting for power. His extra base hits are high, which I like. I'm always a big doubles guy. 42, 34, 32. 32 doubles, 4 triples, 16 home runs in only 400 at bats is great. That's phenomenal. So if he could repeat something like that for us, sign me up. We could probably get him for a 2-year deal. You know what I mean? Because the guy's older than I am.
All right, so we're going to wrap this up here. 2 more things of note. The Mets named former captain, former third baseman Wright to be the special advisor to the chief operating officer and general manager. So good to see David's going to stick around in the team. He's going to be in a front office role similar to Terry Collins. Sandy Alderson signed with the Oakland Athletics as a special advisor there. And the other thing is the Mets avoided arbitration with a few players, and that would be Matz, Conforto, Wheeler, Syndergaard, and Jacob deGrom all on 1-year deals. So my question to you, John, is what's happening here with deGrom? Why hasn't this guy been given like a 5-year extension yet? And what are they waiting for?
They are waiting for the very last second they have to do it because they're, they're very worried that, they give him a 5, 6, 7-year deal and he goes out and hurts his arm because he has had arm trouble in the past. I think if he has, asking him to have a year like he had last year again is a little ridiculous. Back-to-back Cy Young Awards winner, but just like he has, an average year for him, it's still very good. If he stays healthy all year, I think that the Mets have no choice but to really lock him up or the fan base will go nuts.
But the problem is, let's say he repeats next year like he did this year or even is close to it, that price tag's going up. It's going to cost more money. So, double-sided sword.
If you want to sell tickets, you got to be good. If you want to be good, you got to sign your guys. He's a fan favorite. You've got him for cheap for so long now. It's almost like back pay. Pay the guy. Come on.
Let's say like the Mets stink this year and they trade him or they just don't re-sign him. This will be the biggest screw-up in New York sports history since the New York Knicks traded Kristaps Porzingis. So just not good stuff right there.
Yeah, Dolan's committed to losing for the next 5 years, so he had to make sure that he got the roster that would do that for him.
And I'm going to call it right now. If the Mets are made in the playoffs next year, that means Jacob deGrom, not only did he win the Cy Young Award again, he actually wins MVP. That's my prediction for the season, if the Mets could somehow make the playoffs. But that's going to do it. It's the off season, so hopefully, nobody gets hurt between now and spring training. And the next time we speak to you, it'll be closer to opening day. And until next time, everybody, let's hope nobody gets hurt. And maybe the Mets make some more big signings. We'll see. Let's go Mets!